Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chai and Chapters, where conversations are as warm as the tea and as real as our stories. This is the space where we sip, speak, feel, and heal. My name is Kathy. I'll start by introducing this podcast by giving a story about my life, a short story about one of the chapters in my life. And what better way to open this platform for you? So, I'm born in a family of three. I'm the middle child and the only girl. I have two brothers, and I've been raised by a single mom who is an amazing, amazing woman in our lives. And grew up as a normal child, went to school, went to college, started working, and finally got married. So I got married to this man. You know, when you fall in love, it's normally like the most amazing thing. So I walked down the aisle, and after like 3-4 months, we were expecting. And this was very good news. So we go to see the doctor because we needed to know if all was well. So our first scan was done. Lo and behold, I wasn't expecting the news that came to me. But anyway, so this doctor says, hey, you guys are expecting not one, but two children. I was in shock because I didn't expect that I'd be having twins. No one in my family has had twins or in their family. He's now my ex-husband. But yeah, I was shocked. On the other hand, he was so excited. He actually started doing press-ups on the floor. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, oof, Lord, I'm still trying to process. So yes, I was excited, I was scared. It was mixed emotions. We went home and the pregnancy was okay until the 32nd week, where we went to see the doctor on one Saturday, mid-morning. And he said, your pressure is a little elevated and you have some protein in the urine. So he gave me some meds. We went home. I thought, this is something that can be sorted. And I remember on Sunday, we went on Saturday. On Sunday evening, I started feeling really bad. Around 4 p.m., I had nausea that was crazy. And all through, I didn't have that kind of nausea. And I started throwing up. And then I saw I had traces of blood. Then when I went to the bathroom, my poop was dark, meaning I was bleeding from the stomach. At least that I knew, that when you have dark poop, something is not right. And so I started feeling pains on the sides, and it became unbearable. By 7, I was not okay. And I remember my aunt sent us a car, and we went to the doctors really fast. But unfortunately, the thing is, when you have a private doctor and you go to the hospital where you've booked to go and deliver, they cannot touch you until your doctor comes. So I was getting worse by the day, and the children were not doing well. I remember the doctor on call that day was a client of mine because I have been a hairdresser for a while, and that time I used to work in a salon. So she was getting worried, and she's like, I could hear her saying, I think I'll operate because we're going to lose all of them. And the baby girl's heartbeat was very faint. So yeah, just when she's now prepping to do it, because she was going now to break protocol. I was in and out of consciousness. Um, I wasn't even knowing what's happening around me. And the doctor finally comes, and I'm already out by that time. I don't know what was happening, but I was not okay. So he comes and operates. And the following morning is when I woke up. I think my body was not doing very well. So I came to myself the following morning, and my mom was there telling me, "You had a baby boy." And in my mind, I'm wondering what happened to the baby girl, because I was expecting two, a girl and a boy. And these are not easy stories to give, but they are worth telling, because you realize you're not the only one going through these things. And sometimes people need to hear that you overcame something in order for them to rise up and be strong in their situation. And she's telling me, "Congratulations, you have a baby boy." Then after some time, she tells me, "The girl didn't make it." Of course, that's not news you want to hear. Everybody wants good news when they're coming from the theater to have their baby. But that was not the case. But then I was like, at least there is one. So now it was time to start accepting the way things have gone, and try and move on and see the best way forward. So, of course, there are visitors coming in. People are coming to see me and congratulate me. I'm not myself. I'm crying. My lips are dry. My eyes are yellow, jaundice. My kidneys were not okay. My liver was not doing well. I was just not good. And I remember I stayed in hospital for 2 weeks after the CS, because they had to make sure that everything was working as it should. I had a liver specialist come to treat me, and I had all these doctors. And during that time, I remember I was only able to see the baby after like 2 days, because I couldn't walk. I was not very strong. But anyway, on the third day, they wheeled me to go and see the baby, and I did see him. But what I saw was heartbreaking. As much as I was happy, he was in tubes. Oof. No mom wants to see their child in that condition, but you have to be strong to bear it, because this is your baby. Um, I did see him, and I used to go and see him and hold his little hand, his fingers, and he would coil his little fingers around mine. I would speak life to him. I would encourage him. I would sing for him, and he would clutch harder, almost like he understood. And he hung on through some very tough times. Oof. I know we heal as we speak, and I'm ready for this. There were scenes I saw that were very scary. The intubations and the trying to resuscitate him. And so, sometimes he was like going and coming back, and it was an up and down kind of a thing. It was very draining. But I remember during that time, God sends help. He just sends you comfort in many ways. Besides people coming to see you and encourage you, I remember I want to appreciate a certain lady who I used to go to church with. Then Papa Center, now it's Roark. And I remember she came. She came to see me one time. We were not particularly close. I just used to say hello, hi, how you doing, and that's it. And she comes to see me and sits with me. And she sat with me like for 30 minutes. And then she left. When she was leaving, because she didn't talk much, but we sat and she was quietly seated there. Then at some point we were catching up a little, and then she left. When she left me with an envelope. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. After she leaves, I open the envelope and I see 15,000. And I started crying because I'm like, she had no idea how much I needed that. She had no idea. And she came again after a few days and she gave me another envelope with 10K. And I'm like, Lord, I was dumbfounded, to be honest. And others would send in my phone. And it's not even about the money, guys, because the money, I mean, you wake up every day and probably you're working for that money, right? That is your life. When you give, you're giving of yourself. So that is so touching. You give your time, you're giving of yourself. So she did that twice, and it was a very touching experience for me, something I'll never forget. Because God uses people that you never thought He could. And it's sort of like He's reminding you, I'm here. You're not alone. I'm right here. So I'd like to encourage someone who's going through something traumatic like that, where they're in that kind of a chapter and they're feeling lost and unsure of God's love, unsure of themselves. Sometimes you don't want to wake up. I want to encourage you and tell you that the sun does shine. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. You can't be in the night forever. I want you to know that. So no matter how long you feel it's taken for you to stay in that situation, I know that one day you will be able to testify and say, but one day this and this happened and I came out of this particular situation. So as I continue with my story, fast forward, I was discharged and I went home. But the journey had just begun because I had to keep coming back to see baby, to bring milk. So literally my days were spent at the hospital. And remember, I'm still not 100. But I had to gather strength to do that for him. I had to fight for him. But after 1 week, I started feeling like I'm not well. And I remember when we went to see the baby that evening, I was left at the parking lot because I had to walk very slowly. My breathing was very labored. I was having chest pains. Um, and I wasn't very sure what could be happening. So I go up to see my baby, and the baby's nurse looks at me and she's like, Mama Adiel, my boy's name is Adiel. Mama Adiel, what's happening? You don't look too good. And I tell her, I don't feel too good. That's how I was talking. 2 words, and then I try to breathe like that. And she takes my vitals and she's alarmed. She runs, and I'm wondering what's happening. She comes with a wheelchair. She tells me, sit, almost like a command. I'm taking you to see the doctor right away. So I didn't even have to queue. I'm here wondering what's happening. And the moment they looked at me, I was put on oxygen immediately. My oxygen levels were not good. And the doctor on call that day, the gynecologist who was there, he decided we had to do a CT scan immediately because he said, I'm afraid you may be having a clot. So the CT scan is done, and for sure, there was a clot in my right lung. And so it's one thing leading to another, and I'm being taken to the ICU, and papers are being signed, and I'm like, no, wait. Doctor, please don't take me to the ICU, please. I was pleading. And he told me, you don't know the seriousness of what is happening. You have to go to the ICU. And I said, but there's no one to talk to there, please. I could not imagine going to the ICU. Oh, God. But I told him, please take me to the HDU, please. So I don't know what happened. I don't know whether the ICU beds were full. And I was taken to the HDU, and I stayed there for a few days. Injections in my tummy, to thin the blood. I don't know. I even had to do them myself at some point. When I was released from hospital. So I was released to the ward after like 4 days. But before that, I had a visitor. I had visitors, but I'll highlight this one. He was my pastor then when I was attending Papa Center Church, Reverend Julian Keuler. He came to see me when he had him in the ICU because I used to serve in church, so it was noticeable that what Kathy is going through. I used to talk to the wife. She used to come and see me, and the sister, Nancy Dawn, used to come and see me as well. And so what got around, Kathy is in the HDU. So he comes to see me, he cuts short some of the things that he was doing, and he was going to Machakos, but he said, no, take me to hospital. I need to see my daughter. So he came and saw me, and he prayed over me. He encouraged me. And he was telling me, Kathy, I don't know why you're reminding me of Job. I don't know why you're going through all this, but you will come out of it victorious. You will be fine. You will be fine. And I believed in that word. And I said, yes, I will be fine. And I was even telling him how I was trying to bargain with the doctor not to take me to ICU, to bring me to the HDU. And I was telling him, there's no way I'm going, doctor. It's not my time. And the doctor kept smiling that time. But anyway, I'm in the HDU. Then I go to the ward after a few days, and I'm released. And I'm doing my injections at home, To cut the long story short, after another week, I'm feeling bad again. This time the baby is doing well most of the time, but there are times that he's going down. He was growing well. He was looking good. But he had his good moments, he had his bad moments. So I'm feeling bad again. This day, I remember we had our fundraising. The bills were piling, and we needed some help. So we were having our fundraising at the Purpose Center Church, which was on Mombasa Road, but now it's called Ruak. So we had our fundraising, but during that fundraising, I wasn't feeling good. I was having the same problem, the labored breathing again. And I was wondering what could be happening. What is happening to me? And I knew that without a shadow of doubt, the moment this fundraising is done and we go to the hospital to see the baby, I know I'll be admitted. I just knew it because I wasn't feeling well. So we did our fundraising and it was okay. And then we went to hospital. For sure, I was admitted, and not in the normal ward, but in the HDU again. And my lungs were now full of fluid. And I was on oxygen again. By now, I'm tired. I'm really tired. And I'm wondering, when will this suffering ease? Can I just have a normal life? And when I think of this, I'm like, there are people who stay in hospital for so long. And I stayed for a few days, but I couldn't stand it. May God heal each and every person who's not well. My heart goes out to anybody who's going through that kind of a tough time, because there are many. There are many. You know, when you go through some of these things, you realize you're actually not the only one. But at that time, you're almost asking, why me? And you just don't get it, why you're suffering. But yeah. So I'm now admitted again, back to hospital. My lungs are full of fluid, and the right lung, not both, but the right lung is full of fluid. Where the clot was, I guess, I don't know what was happening. But I'm now admitted, and they had to start draining fluid from my lungs. This is the part where now they do an incision, and there are many procedures. Some of them were very painful. And they are now draining the fluid. And let me tell you, I remember when my chest doctor was comfortable and at ease that the fluid is draining well, he said, okay, now we can take you back to the ward, the normal ward. And I was happy. I'm like, yes. And I'm taken back to the normal ward that evening. And I remember my younger brother came to see me. And he stayed with me up until 8 p.m. And I told him, you have to leave. You know, it's getting late. Just leave, just go home now that it's not so late. I'm going to be fine. You go home. And he goes. But when I turn like this, you know, the way you just turn, I see instead of the fluid coming out, blood is coming out. A lot of blood, my friends, like a river. And I panic and I ring the bell for the nurse. There was a male nurse that day who was assigned to us. And he comes and he's alarmed. Do you know he went back? He did like a 360 turn, or I don't know what it was, because he almost fell. He turned and slid on that floor. He almost fell. The thing is, he was running to call for help. And he caught one doctor who had not gone home, a surgeon. And very quickly, that area of my bed was turned into a small theater with lights and everything. And this lady comes and removes the pipe. And by that time, I'm falling in and out of consciousness. It's like I'm barely there. I'm in and out, and she had to keep slapping me and telling me, Kathy, stay with me, stay with me. Kathy, wake up, stay with me. And she's holding this place so that the bleeding stops. And then she patched it up after the bleeding stopped. And then she tells me, you just have to be brave. I'll do another small hole on the side of your, like the ribs, and I'll put in another pipe so that the draining can continue. I've already spoken to your doctor, and he'll come and see you in the morning, but we have to do this. We have to do this. By that time, I'm feeling so weak. I had lost so much blood. Then there's another nurse on this side. He's putting blood from, like he's giving me blood. And they're saying that they need another point where they can put more blood, the leg. And I say, no, just do on my arm. And she's like, Kathy, you can't use, both arms will have, and I tell her it's okay. Meaning I can't even itch. I'll have blood being transfused from both arms. But anyway, that's what happened, because that was my request. So I'm all feeling weak. She's done with everything, and she's like, you're very brave. You're going to be okay. And she kept saying, you're very brave. You're very brave. And she told me, Kathy, I'm really sorry that you're going through this, but you're going to be fine. She had this reassuring look, and I just knew I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. And I'm taken to the HDU again. Remember, I had been taken to the ward. Now I'm back to the HDU. And yeah, that's another story now.